Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my latest video. And today I'm here continuing to work on the hashtag Little Bits of Lace 2024 challenge. And again, that's hosted by Cori Dahmen, so I'll have her video linked below. And of course, check out everybody else that's participating by doing a little search on YouTube for the hashtag Little Bits of Lace 2024. And for today's episode, I thought I would share one of the ideas that I like to do, and I know a lot of other people also like to do, is adding little bits of lace to your labels. And you can use labels on the covers of your journals, on tags, on pages as a little element that you've added to other like snippets, like paper snippets or clusters. And so I did do a couple off camera just so you guys could see what I was talking about. Here's one that I did with a digital piece of paper from a digital kit. It was from My Porch Prints. So these top two are like that, and you can see I've layered a couple of pieces of lace, and there's also some material. This one just has one piece of lace on it, a little bit of lace, some eyelash trim, and a piece of material. This one I stamped, and then behind there, there's some coffee dyed or tea dyed cheesecloth. There's one piece of lace and then some eyelash trim. Same with this one. There's a couple pieces of lace, and I stamped on some material and some eyelash trim, and then I sewed around it. And of course, these ones I am going to choose to sew around them, but you could also put these together easily just by using like some Fabri-Tac glue or hot glue. And you can add these to a top of a page as an embellishment, to a tag, to a decorated envelope, just all sorts of things you can use them for. And I did pull out from the last couple episodes, you know, we did the little lace on hearts and also on the Franken tags. And so I just thought I would show you, like, here's this one right here, 1891. So like here's the tag that we made. So you could easily add this and embellish it to the tag. You could glue that down right up there and you have another cute little embellishment. You can add them to your like paper clusters. Here was this little tag that we created, little, not heart, but we could use this as a tuck spot or a tag, just depends. And you can add this, you know, at the bottom of this heart. You could add it up here, up there. So those are just kind of some ideas. And of course, if you had a folded page, like if this was the top of your journal page, you could add it to the corner or something, or to the bottom corner of a page in your journal. And so for today's episode, of course, you'll need some little bits of lace. I am going to be using my sewing machine, but I'll do that off camera. You could use glue instead if you wanted to. I have this sheet from My Porch Prints. It's grunge number labels. And it's a digital from My Porch Prints. So you could use labels like this. There's also like pre-bought labels you could buy from like Tim Holtz. There's lots of other digital designers also on Etsy that you guys can purchase labels from also. And then you could use stamps. So a couple of these that I've already created that I showed you guys, these two right here, they came from this stamp set from Creative Expressions. It's a Sam Poole design set, and it's called Dates from the Past Part 2. You could use something like that, but I thought, and I have a couple of those already stamped from the Sam Poole stamp set right here on scrap pieces of material. But I thought we might use these ones. I just got these the other day, and I thought they'd be fun to kind of use. They're Woodware Craft Collection. And these ones are called junk labels. And they're just kind of some little labels. So we're going to use those. We're going to stamp those. So you're going to need little bits of lace, your sewing machine. You're also going to need some scrap material to stamp on. Here's the piece I think that I was going to use. You also need permanent ink. So like the StazOn ink, I'm going to be using the archival ink, and this is in jet black. And then I have little bits of lace, and then you can also add some eyelash trim, If you have tulle, some cheesecloth, just anything else, little pieces of doily, just anything from your stash that you're wanting to use up in your layering process. So to begin with, I'm just going to pick a couple of stamps and we're just going to go ahead and stamp them. So I'll maybe take off the one that says Dream, and I think I want to use the one that says Journal. And I like the word Imagine, and I like the word Love. So let's do those four. So I'm just going to put 2 on my little block here, and I'm going to add some ink. Just going to check the back to make sure it looks like they've been inked. I haven't used these before, so sometimes you have to stamp them and use them a couple of times to get a good crisp image, but we'll see how they stamp here. So I'm going to stamp them up towards the top because I am going to cut them out. And not too bad. This one could have been a little darker, but I think my ink pad's running out of ink, so that's fine. So let's stamp 2 more. And since the word Dream didn't stamp very well, I'm just going to try that one more time over here just to see if I can get a better image of that one. My hands are getting a little dirty, but that's okay. We like to play, don't we? And let's just stamp that one. Okay, that one stamped definitely better up there, so we'll just use that one. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut these out. They don't have to be perfect. I'm just going to trim them down a little bit. And I'm kind of purposefully cutting it a little wonky just so they aren't perfect. I guess that's just kind of the look I'm going for. So I'm also going to add these ones that I already had stamped before into the mix. And then I also have a few more of those My Porch print labels that I'm going to make into layered ones. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of those. And I've already gone ahead and I've inked the edges using Victorian Velvet Distress ink on these just a little bit so that there's a little pink color. And so now I'm just going to kind of lay out some laces and some material, and we're going to layer these up. So for these little ones right here, I think I want a base layer of some material. So I have some of this leftover material, so I'm just going to try to use it up. And then I'll grab some more. I have some more white, I think, sitting next to me, and maybe some other colors in here just of scraps that are similar to this. So I'm going to try to use this one up. Just going to cut it into little rectangle pieces. Again, they don't have to be perfect. These are just remnants, and we're just making fun little labels. So we'll do those 3. So let me find some more material here. So now that I kind of have a base for these ones, let's find some remnants that we can add to them. So I have this remnant. It's left over from, I was making circles for some flowers, and so this was kind of the bottom of the material piece, but that's perfect for what we're wanting to do. And you can either put it underneath or over. So maybe for this one, we can put it underneath. And I'm just going to trim off that bottom. So we can layer that there. I also have a layer of some netting when I was making those same flowers, so I think I'm going to put that on here also. And then I want another piece of lace. And then a piece of eyelash trim. So I'm going to put that under here also when I sew. So I think that makes kind of a nice little layer, and you can cut this down if you want a little bit, but I'm going to leave that. So that will work for that one. So let's work on some of these other ones. Maybe on this Paris one, let's add some cheesecloth. So I like that. Then here's a leftover piece of lace, so let's cut that down. And I have another scrap piece of netting. Like I said, I cut flower circles out of these, and so I'm just trying to use up a little bit of this, because whatever I don't use on this stuff today, I'm probably just going to throw, because it's just down to scraps, but I think it'll work for adding kind of some layers onto. And then I'm going to add again, I just like my eyelash trim, so I'm going to add that. So that one's ready to be sewn. Here's another little remnant piece of lace. So let's put that one over. This one was from a journal I made a while back. It was just a remnant though when I was making the journal cover. So, and this one I might need to cut down just a little bit. So I think that'll work. And I'm thinking this one might be nice to try to put a little bit of this pretty lace that I like underneath it. So I'm just going to try, when I sew it, I'm going to try to have this part hanging underneath it. So here's another piece that I might just layer maybe on top of that. And then we'll add the eyelash trim. So that's what that layer looks like. So we'll set that one aside. So now we're down to the two. Here's another pretty little remnant that I have left over. Another remnant of the tulle that I'm going to add. And then some eyelash trim underneath that one. And I think I'm going to add some cheesecloth to that one also, a little piece of cheese. Yeah, I really like making these. These are kind of fun. Like I said, they're kind of quick little projects because you really don't need very much. And it's a great way to use up whatever bits and pieces you have left over. So, so this one just ended up with one piece of lace, but that's okay. So I like how that one looks too. So now we're down to this one. So again, just a remnant from something that I made. And I think I'm just going to cut off part of the bottom of this one. I think that looks kind of fun. And there's a little bit of that cheesecloth, so we might as well use that again. And another little snippet. Just kind of kitty wampus that one, and then of course we'll add a little bit of eyelash trim to that one also. So I like that one. So we just made 5 other than to sew around them. So let's play with these ones right here, and then I'll go ahead and I'll sew around them on the sewing machine. This one just seems like there's a lot of material, so I'm just going to cut this one down a little bit. Just go like that. So I have this piece hanging out right here. That one could work for behind there. That remnant. I think these little pieces right here need a piece of material behind them because they're so little. So just going to cut out some more of those. So hopefully you guys can see all these layers, all these pieces, and I just kind of just play with whatever laces and stuff I have next to me. And again, I'm just trying to use up a little bit of this stash that I have sitting here. So I don't know. That one might work for under there still, so I'll add that one. So I have some remnants also of some of those lace curtains. And so I'm going to see if I could add any of this underneath any of these for a little extra character, I guess. I have some of this pretty lace, and I cut off the top part of this for something. And I think this is part of the top, is what that looks like. So I'm wondering if I can't add this to a couple of things. Thinking this one needs a little more something under it. So yeah, we can add it to that one. So this piece is like left over from like a collar, like a shirt collar, and I used it as a part of it as a pocket. So I have a little bit left of that, and that might make that, I kind of like what that looks like underneath here. So let's cut off a piece of that. And I'm just going to cut this edge off where it's hemmed a little bit. So I think I'm pretty good with the layout of all these. I'm just going to go ahead then and add some eyelash trim behind them. So I think that's everything, and for this pile and then the pile that I moved over here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and I'm either going to sew around the labels like this, or I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a kind of a messy stitch going around the wording. And so I will be back to show you what the final result looks like. So I finished sewing around the edges, and I just wanted to show you what everything looks like. And then I figured we could maybe embellish a couple of these a little bit more. Here's the ones that I used, my Porch Prints labels that were printed on paper. What those ones look like. And then here's all the rubber stamped ones that are stamped on material. So these will make some fun little labels and embellishments in our journals. And then here is the ones that I had made from before, so I'll just throw those into the pile too. And so I thought, like, some of these that we did, we could add a couple embellishments. Like here's this one. I thought, well, any of them it would work, but you could add could sew on just a little button onto the corner. So I think I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to add just another tiny little piece of lace or something. Here's just a fragment or cut off piece. So let's just cut off a small piece of that. And then we can add that underneath the button, just for another layer or another use of using up little bits of lace. And I'm just going to stitch this one on with a little needle and thread here. I was going to have to hold it up to my face real quick just because I'm having a hard time seeing the holes, because this is just kind of a tiny little button and my vision isn't what it used to be. So sorry about going off camera there for a second. Like I said, I just had to hold it up a little closer to my face so I could see what I was doing. And I'm just going to tie it off in the back here. So there's what that looks like. So again, we added and I don't really like this little triangle piece there, so I'm just going to trim it off just a little bit. But there we added another little piece of lace underneath the button, and that just added just a little bit extra embellishment to that one. And then I do have a couple other little remnants here that I pulled out, and not saying that I'm going to use all of them, but I have this lace dangle trim left, and there's like 4 pieces on it. But I was thinking maybe I could just glue on just a little dangle up here in the corner. So I'm going to do that. So that adds a little extra embellishment. And then I'm not sure where I'm going to use this, but you could add like another layer of a little flower like this on top of it, or a little button. You could punch out a little flower and add some eyelash trim behind it. So I would probably embellish this one just a little bit more, but for now I'm just going to leave it like that. Just because I'm not quite sure what I want to put underneath it. Again, like here you could put a little flower on it, on top of it. Could add a flat back pearl. And that one's kind of cute, actually. Or maybe a piece of bling in the middle of that one. So just a couple ideas. I'm not going to add to that one other than that little piece for right now. And let's see. You know, you can always add, even though you've sewed lace on, you can always add a little bit more with gluing it down, and I'm going to do that on this one, I think, with this little bit that's left over. That's what that one looks like. And then maybe on this one I have some of these little flowers, so I'm going to go ahead and add this one to the corner right here. So that just gives you a little bit of idea. I know here's some other trims you could add. Like here's a dangle piece that would look, you know, cute hanging from one of these somewhere. Maybe not that one. Could maybe add it to the corner of the journal one. I also had this trim, which you could cut that up even more and just add one of these little pieces onto one of these, like the top corner of maybe the dream. So I'll probably do those off camera, but I just wanted to show you just a couple other ideas on how you can embellish them just a little bit further than just adding the little layers of lace on there. So thank you again, everybody, so much for watching today, and hopefully I inspired you to go out and use some of your little bits of lace and layer them up underneath labels. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.